So here we are today. You're talking about New Way California. It's a vision of a new focus for the Republican Party here in California. You know what people are going to say. There he is, Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's a rhino. He's ditching conservatism. He's not a proper conservative. He's not a proper Republican. He's too moderate. What do you say to people who would have that reaction?
I always say to people, I say, we're in California, and people here need to fix the environment. People here demand that we talk about education and that we fix our education in just education system where it's not equal education for everybody. People want to go and be insured. Everyone wants to have health care. All of those kind of issues need to be addressed. So it doesn't really matter what you call anybody. The bottom line is that you want to get it fixed so that people are happy, because these are our constituents and that they demand that. And so this is why it's important for Democrats and Republicans to work together and to address the issues and not to look at them as Republican issues or Democratic issues, because those are people's issues. Yes, people sometimes have said that, Arnold, you're a Republican by name only, but I always remind them that the true Republican Party is the party of Abraham Lincoln, who freed the slaves and gave them citizenship and gave them the voting right and all of those kind of things. It's the Teddy Roosevelt Republican Party that has put more land aside for future generations than any other president, and he was a Republican. Richard Nixon, who tackled health care and almost actually achieved it, universal health care. Ronald Reagan, who protected the environment and used the cap-and-trade system to get rid of the ozone layer and then close the hole in the ozone. And all of those kind of things, I mean, this is the kind of Republican Party that I am used to and that I've signed on to. It's just that they veered off a little bit to the side, and that I think America in general got more, where the Democrats got more to the left and the Republicans to the right. But I pay no attention to any of this stuff. To me, it's important. I'm an action guy. I want to get things fixed. Let's not label it as a Democratic idea or Republican. Let's just get it fixed.
And I think one of the biggest things that people want to see fixed, that has driven support for people like Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders on the left, is that things aren't being fixed in the economy. What's the economic message that this new way might have?
Well, I think that the Republicans have always been good in stimulating the economy and creating jobs and all this stuff. And I think that, now the idea is to get up to 4% again of GDP growth and all that, to employ everybody, to solve eventually the problem that there is 8 million jobs out there that are unfilled because people don't have the education, they're not qualified to fill those jobs. Mm-hmm. So that's embarrassing. That's a problem that needs to be addressed. So there's a lot of things that need to be done, but I think that California is coming back economically right now like gangbusters, and hopefully we get to this 4% that Trump envisions again, and therefore have more revenues and therefore be able to pay off our debt and all that stuff. Right now, the idea of just giving a tax break to people like myself and to corporations, I don't think that's enough of a stimulus yet.
But do you think that there's anything positive in what's happened since President Trump was elected on the economic agenda or anything else? Is there anything that you look at and think, that's good?
I think that we are very happy the way the economy is going. I think that I'm very happy the way the stock market is going, even though it has its ups and downs. But if anyone thinks that it only goes up, I mean, remember, what goes up must come down too. And so I think this is normal. That's the way the stock market always goes. So I'm very happy with the way the stock market has gone over the last year. And hopefully people will come together and not be as polarized. Because I am always the first one that says, when the people have spoken, we have a president, and we need to support that president no matter what. You maybe think it's the wrong party, or you maybe think this is wrong and that is wrong, but we got to all work together, because as we all know from sports, and I learned a lot of lessons from sports, that when a team works together, then they win. If they start fighting amongst each other, they lose. So I think it is a damage to America, really, overall, if we just start attacking the president because we don't like his style or we don't like his politics or something like that, I think we have to support him. But if he does something wrong that we're displeased with, we should also have the right to speak out and to criticize it.
So you've done a bit of that. You've had a bit of fun with the president on Twitter and so on. But being serious about it, do you think that he's someone that you could support in 2020? Is there anything that he could do to win back your support?
Look, you know, I have been friends with Trump for many years. And we've run into each other, if it's professional wrestling, if it's business, if it is, you know, building skyscrapers, or his show, or him coming to my movie premieres, and all of this stuff. So we are not enemies. And when he asked me to support him, I said, look, I would love to support you, but the only thing is that would be going against everything that I have done when it comes to the environmental issue. I said, if you acknowledge that we have a problem, you don't have to acknowledge global warming. Let's assume for a second you're one of those that doesn't believe in that. But you have to acknowledge that we're killing 7 to 9 million people a year because of pollution. That has nothing to do with global warming or what's going to happen in the future if the sea levels rise. Let's assume for a second you believe in none of that. I happen to believe in that, but someone else doesn't. That's okay. But acknowledge that we have pollution and we got to stop the pollution. We can do better than that. I mean, if there is an intersection and cars are crashing into each other, eventually you put a stop sign there and says, this has to stop. We got to save people. That's the responsibility, the ultimate responsibility of government. And so the same is with pollution. You cannot continue on knowingly that people are dying and that we're killing people with pollution, with fossil fuels, and not do anything about it. That is ludicrous.